November 15th, 2025. We're in the fourth year, and this is day 265 of the war in Ukraine. Welcome. I greet you. Here's the daily report. The channel is growing as more members join the War and Tactic Division. And more Alja Crullers are showing up in the comments section and are noticeably present in the like numbers on every video. But today's video is still mainly dedicated to the 71,189 free subscribers. Glad to have you with us as always. Once again, there was a hit on a refinery, and once again, it's Ryazan. Every day, a hit isn't bad, but it would take a bit more to really tip the current situation further. I rather feel that if everything stays the way it is now, and we're talking about a good 6-7 hits on different refineries per week, then it will be costly and painful, with losses also impacting the front. But it will take much more to be able to keep up the pressure. 2 to 3 hits a day, and that on maybe just a few refineries instead of spreading it out so much, would be a pretty good frequency, or even a refinery that won't be able to start up again at all. Right now, the Ukrainians are continuously reducing the capacity for fuel production. But in most cases, the refineries are still producing something at the other facilities. It's not like the refinery is just a single complex, basically like an assembly line, where some parts come in at the beginning. Gasoline comes out at the end of a long production line, but the refinery has several lines. If Ukrainians destroy a key irreplaceable part, others can still rely on different production lines. That means you'd either have to destroy all of them, limit the attacks to the major refineries, or carry out multiple attacks on different refineries. Let's do a quick recap of the overall situation so we're all on the same page again. Since July 2025, the front has intensified, but not collapsed. The front is still defined by an approximately 20 to 25 kilometer wide kill zone of overlapping drone and artillery fire. Russia has gradually shifted this zone westward, especially in the area around Pokrovsk, near Donetsk. The effectiveness and kill rate are now roughly at the same level on both sides within this kill zone. Just to be clear, the front is less of a fixed line, as we've seen over the past years, and more of a patchwork of small positions with 2 or 3 men with gaps in between. Russian small units often infiltrate, establish themselves behind Ukrainian lines, and consolidate. Many fail, but some still succeed. This creates an extremely wide gray zone with varying troop strengths on both sides. Overestimating situation maps. The main focus, or the main focal points at the front, are still Pokrovsk, Postkantinivka, the arc around Kulja-Polik, Pokrovsky at the border of the Zaporizhet-Dnipro-Donetsk triangle, as well as the Lemon area and the Isium-Slovjansk road. And with Pokrovsk, we're referring to that again today. Because here, although there was hardly any change compared to the last 2 days, in quotation marks, the most happened here, in contrast to the other gaps in the front. In Pokrovsk, Russians remain present and continue targeting logistics routes. Ukrainian forces rotate, conduct counterattacks, and keep corridors open, but rarely launch active assaults to regain territory. They usually defend minor points like access roads they deem important. Nevertheless, the situation has gradually worsened because Russian forces are advancing further into the city from the south, especially via this route, and also this route here, which could soon, let's say, be put into operation or used. If they push Ukraine back a bit more and keep supplying and reinforcing units in the city through these routes, the recent cold and foggy weather has helped them bring in more troops, increasing pressure in the city center and north. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to attack the southern access route, as you could see here, because here the Ukrainian Air Force dropped glide bombs that hit the road at the Green Steknare. Like Pokrovsk, Mirnorad was put in immediate danger. These are basically these 2 districts here. The big danger is that they would be encircled within a few days if the Russians completely capture Pokrovsk here. So also here, the northern sector that I marked yesterday. Then Russia could use drones outside the city, forcing Ukrainian units back 10 to 15 kilometers. Ukraine has sent reinforcements to secure the flanks, but offensives or counterattacks would be costly and pull reserves from other hotspots like Zaporizhzhia. Pokrovsk is not encircled so far. And I emphasize this specifically because the other side claims exactly the opposite. However, Russian drones already enforce deep fire control, making a late, orderly withdrawal of personnel and equipment much riskier. And that's exactly a lesson from Avdiivka in Ukraine. And when Russian soldiers were in Pokrovsk, I kept saying the same thing in the situation reports. And I got a lot of stupid comments. But as I said before and will continue to say, what we are seeing here is a second Avdiivka. And I've been saying that for weeks, and now other reporters are saying it too, with 10 to 12 times more subscribers and 1,000 times the reach compared to me. Even though many say that losing the city wouldn't really matter, that's not exactly good. Because, of course, after that comes the Dnipro line, which has been fortified much better than Pokrovsk, but operationally, the loss of the city would still carry weight, because it would widen the Russian axis west of Kramatorsk and open routes to the network area border. And from here, the Russians would have a new operational base to continue attacking the Dnipro line, which follows immediately after. Which, of course, makes it difficult for the Ukrainians, because the first lines of defense mainly consist of tank ditches, anti-tank obstacles, mine belts, and barbed wire positions. And only after that do the first Ukrainian positions appear, which means that between Pokrovsk and the first Ukrainian soldiers, there is still an area that cannot be directly used to continue shelling or bombing the city, or to weaken Russian troops there so much they can't regroup for a larger attack on the Dnipro line. Further south, Russian advances continue, but they often come at a high cost and have little impact. Mine belts usually stop them, just like first-person view drones that destroy the vehicles, and artillery that finishes off the vehicles completely. Most of the time it's during an attack in the kill zone. Overall, Russian casualties are rising significantly, and losses are hard to recover in the kill zone. Recruitment quality is declining as Russian one-time payments have dropped quickly and fewer people are signing up to fight. With winter coming, the front line will likely stabilize with less cover for infiltration, UMPK, close air support, further withdrawals, and easier rotations. However, airspace suppression in depth remains the key factor. Enemy drone teams and artillery must be systematically hunted down. Our own first-person view drones and electronic warfare must simply become superior and be further expanded. Mine belts must be replenished and rapid units formed and deployed for short and well-prepared counterattacks, which I hardly see here. Controlling this 20-16-mile zone typically determines both initiative and the other side's casualty rate. Even so-called assault tanks, the new extreme versions of turtle tanks, often can only be hit after 20-25 drones, and in extreme cases are only destroyed after 40. Mines are still the most effective against mechanized attacks. This here is now a Russian source. They report that in October, 4,936 engagements took place along the front, which is about 2% less than the previous month. The hotspot, surprisingly, was Pokrovsk with about 35% of frontline engagements, followed by Kurochau at 16% and Kostiantynivka at 11.5%. Yesterday, we took a look at the attack on the port of Novorossiysk and also saw that the Ukrainians were able to successfully disable the air defense positions. That was the video with the big explosion on Telegram. Now, there are the first satellite images of the air defense complex. Here you can see 4 out of 7 S-400 air defense launchers that were identified 3 days before the attack. In the updated image, 1 day after the attack, so from today you can see 2 burned out wrecks. RBC Ukraine believes the 2 middle launchers were irreparably damaged when the others and their ammo exploded. Judging by the extent of the explosion, that also seems plausible, assuming there were any standing there. In addition, an early warning radar, the 92N-6 fire control radar, was also destroyed. I found this picture pretty intense when I saw it, so I wanted to share it. Translated, The text on the TikTok video of a Russian woman means that she is grateful to her brother, who took part in the special operation and lost his life, so that she could buy this apartment with the money. I don't want to comment any further. You can do that yourself in the comment section. Southwest of Pokrovsk, Russians attempted to cross the water with pontoon bridges. So this river here at this point, to open up another route of attack to the north. They specifically aim to go to Novopavlivka, but it's more about cutting off Drachny here first, and then clearing this road here. They're attacking more from the east now, but not making progress. This area is part of the Libre defensive line, which they've failed to break through multiple times. They then tried to advance via Drachny. At the same time, they advanced a bit further here, and then it turned out that they couldn't make any more progress here and suffered many losses. This village is being held extremely well by the Ukrainians, and now, of course, they need another way. It's difficult here because everything is well fortified. There's a body of water here which serves as a natural barrier, so it's less well fortified. The Russians took advantage of this and wanted to cross the river here. But as far as I could tell, it failed. They lost 2 tanks in the process and couldn't gain a foothold on the other side. What if they had already succeeded? Well, then they would have made a move eastward here, encircled the soldiers at Drachny, or at least tried to, and captured this place. Then they would have advanced toward Novopavlivka along the road, which is, of course, a problem because then they would bypass the Ukrainian defensive line here. Special thanks to the channel members, ALG crew, and especially Lieutenant Colonel Renike. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, like, and comment. See you in the next situation report.